Michael sat quietly in his small kitchen, the soft hum of the refrigerator the only sound in the room. The late afternoon sun filtered through the dusty window, casting a golden light on the worn wooden table. It was a modest apartment, nothing fancy, but it was home to Michael and his little daughter, Emma. Emma was just over 6 months old, with bright eyes that seemed to look at the world with curiosity and wonder. Michael had been a single dad since Emma was born. Her mother had left shortly after Emma's birth, and Michael had taken on the role of both parents without complaint. It wasn't easy. There were days when he felt completely overwhelmed, but every time Emma smiled or reached out for him, he felt like he could do anything. Michael worked as a chef at a small local diner. The job didn't pay much, but he loved cooking. He loved how food could bring comfort and happiness to people. Every morning, before heading to work, he made sure Emma had breakfast and was dressed neatly. Then, when he returned, he would spend every free moment with her playing, singing, or simply holding her close. This afternoon was no different. Michael was preparing dinner, a simple meal of chicken stew with fresh vegetables. The smell of herbs and spices filled the kitchen, mixing with the smell of the rain outside. Emma was in her high chair, happily chewing on a soft biscuit. Michael smiled at her and wiped a small crumb from her cheek. Suddenly, there was a soft knock on the door. Michael's heart jumped. He wasn't expecting anyone. He walked over, drying his hands on a towel, and opened the door carefully. Standing there was a woman about his age, dressed in a smart business suit. Her hair was pulled back neatly, and she held a baby in her arms. The baby was crying loudly, tears streaming down her cheeks. The woman looked tired, her eyes red from stress. "Hello," Michael said softly. "Can I help you?" The woman took a deep breath and nodded. I don't know where else to go," she said, her voice shaking a little. "My name is Claire. This is my niece, Lily. She's been crying for hours, and nothing I do helps. I heard you're a chef, and a dad. Maybe you can help." Michael's heart softened immediately. He glanced down at Emma, who was now watching the crying baby with wide eyes. "Come in," he said gently, stepping aside to let Claire enter. The apartment was small, but warm. Michael placed Emma safely on the floor with a few toys while he took the crying baby from Claire. Lily was a tiny girl, no more than 3 months old, with bright blue eyes and a tuft of dark hair. But she was upset, crying so hard her face was red. Michael rocked Lily gently, humming a soft tune. He tried everything, patting her back, swaying from side to side, whispering calming words, but Lily wouldn't stop crying. Emma watched closely, her own baby cries mixing with Lily's from time to time. Claire sat on the couch, looking helpless. "I don't understand," she said. "She's never been like this. I've tried everything, feeding her, changing her, rocking her. Nothing works." Michael nodded, understanding how frustrating it must be. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "babies just need something different. Maybe food can help." Claire looked at him, puzzled. "Food?" Michael smiled gently. "Yes. When Emma was younger, she cried a lot too. I learned a special recipe from my grandmother that helped calm her. It's simple, but it works." Claire looked hopeful but tired. "I don't know if it will work, but I trust you." Michael washed his hands carefully and went to the small kitchen. He opened the refrigerator and pulled out a sweet potato, some milk, and a little cinnamon from a small jar. He peeled the sweet potato, boiled it until it was soft, and mashed it into a smooth puree. The smell was sweet and warm, comforting. He returned to the living room, holding the warm food carefully. "Let's try this," he said softly. Claire watched closely as Michael fed the baby the puree with a small spoon. Lily was hesitant at first, pushing the food away, but Michael was patient. He whispered softly, "It's okay, little one. Just try a little bit." Slowly, Lily began to eat. Her crying stopped, and she looked at Michael with curious eyes. After a few minutes, she relaxed in his arms, her tiny fingers curling around his shirt. Claire's eyes filled with tears. "I can't believe it," she whispered. "She hasn't stopped crying since I met you." Michael smiled, feeling a warmth inside. He looked down at Lily, then at Emma, who was now clapping her hands happily on the floor. "Sometimes," Michael said softly, "it's not just the food. It's the love and care behind it." Claire nodded slowly, wiping a tear from her cheek. "Thank you, Michael. You've done something I never thought was possible." For a few moments, the three of them sat quietly, Michael holding the peaceful baby, Emma playing nearby, and Claire watching with a grateful smile. Outside, the rain continued to fall, but inside the small apartment, there was a new kind of calm, a small moment of peace, brought together by kindness, hope, and the simplest recipe. Michael knew his life was far from perfect, but right now, he felt something rare, a connection that went beyond money, power, or success. It was something deeper. Something real. And in that quiet afternoon, with two babies asleep and a stranger's gratitude in the air, Michael felt that maybe, just maybe, his small world was about to change forever. The soft warmth of the kitchen was a sharp contrast to the cold, rainy world outside. Michael sat with baby Lily in his arms, feeling the steady rhythm of her breathing as she finally stopped crying. Emma was nearby, playing quietly with her favorite soft toy. The calm in the room was almost magical after the hours of crying Claire had described. Claire sat on the worn couch, her hands tightly clasped in her lap. She was still catching her breath from the stress and exhaustion of the day. Her eyes never left Lily, who was now resting peacefully on Michael's chest. "I don't know how you did that," Claire said quietly. "I've tried everything. Feeding her formula, rocking her, singing to her, nothing helped." Michael smiled, though a little tired. "Babies are special," he said. "Sometimes they need more than just food or comfort. Sometimes they need to feel safe, to trust someone. And sometimes, it's about patience." Claire nodded slowly, still staring at the sleeping baby. "I've never seen her this calm. Not even for a few minutes. She's usually so fussy. It breaks my heart." Michael looked at Emma, who was now crawling toward him, curious about Lily. He reached out and gently helped Emma sit on his lap. "Babies can feel each other's emotions," he explained. "Emma has been through some hard times too. When a baby is upset, sometimes they just want to know they're not alone." Claire wiped a tear from her cheek. "I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't been here." Michael's expression grew serious. "You're not alone now. You can come back anytime. I'll help you." Claire smiled, a mixture of relief and gratitude shining in her eyes. For the next few days, Claire kept coming back to Michael's apartment. Every time she arrived, she brought Lily, and Michael would prepare the special sweet potato puree for the baby. Slowly but surely, Lily's crying lessened. She began to smile and coo, reaching out her tiny hands. Michael and Claire started talking more. They shared stories of their lives, Michael's struggles raising Emma on his own, Claire's busy life as a businesswoman. Claire spoke about the pressure she felt to succeed, to live up to the expectations of her family and her company. Michael talked about his dreams of opening a small restaurant where families could come together, just like the diner where he worked now. Their conversations were often interrupted by the baby's laughter or cries, but that only made the moments more real and heartfelt. One evening, Claire arrived feeling more relaxed than before. The rain had stopped, and the sky was clear. She sat down at the small kitchen table, watching Michael prepare dinner for Emma and herself. Michael chopped fresh vegetables with practiced hands. The kitchen smelled of garlic and herbs, and the soft sound of cooking filled the air. "How do you do it?" Claire asked, smiling softly. "You make everything feel so calm and simple." Michael laughed quietly. "It's not always calm," he admitted. "There are hard days. But I try to remember why I do this, because food brings people together. Because Emma deserves a happy home." Claire looked at him with admiration. "You're a great father, Michael. I see it in how you care for Emma, and how you helped Lily." Michael looked down at Emma, who was now playing peekaboo with Lily, who was sitting quietly in Claire's arms. "Thank you," Michael said. "That means a lot." One afternoon, Michael took Claire and the babies to the small park nearby. It was the first time Claire had seen Emma outside the apartment. The fresh air and sunshine seemed to lift everyone's spirits. Emma crawled on the soft grass, laughing as Michael helped her explore. Lily, still small but stronger now, watched with wide eyes from Claire's arms. Claire smiled, watching the simple joy of the children. "I've been so busy," she said. "I forgot how important these small moments are." Michael nodded. "Life isn't just about work or money. It's about love. About family." Claire looked at him, her eyes shining. "You've taught me that, Michael." As days turned into weeks, Claire's visits became a regular part of Michael's life. They cooked together, shared stories, and watched the babies grow. Michael's little apartment was no longer just a home, it was a place of healing and new beginnings. One evening, as Michael was cleaning up after dinner, Claire pulled him aside gently. "Michael," she said quietly, "I want to help you. Your cooking is amazing, and you deserve to open your own restaurant. Let me help you make that happen." Michael was surprised. "I don't know if that's possible," he said. "It's a big dream." Claire smiled. "Nothing is impossible. You've helped me so much. Now it's my turn to help you." Michael looked at Claire, feeling hope for the first time in a long time. That night, as Michael tucked Emma into bed, he thought about everything that had happened. From the first moment Claire knocked on his door, crying and desperate, to the quiet afternoons filled with laughter and shared meals. He realized that sometimes, life brought unexpected visitors for a reason. Sometimes, strangers became friends, and friends became family. And in the soft glow of the nightlight, with Emma's peaceful breathing beside him, Michael felt ready for whatever came next. The small apartment was filled with the soft sounds of laughter and baby coos. Michael had grown used to the warmth that Claire and baby Lily brought with their visits. What started as a chance meeting on a rainy afternoon was now part of their daily lives. Emma and Lily were becoming friends, sharing innocent moments that touched the hearts of the adults around them. One afternoon, Michael stood in his modest kitchen, preparing lunch for the babies. The sun streamed through the window, casting light on the counter where fresh vegetables, a pot of rice, and a bowl of sweet potato puree waited to be served. Emma babbled happily in her high chair while Lily, now calmer and more trusting, reached for the spoon with tiny hands. Claire sat nearby, watching Michael work with quiet admiration. "You make everything look so easy," she said. "But I know it's not." Michael smiled, gently feeding Emma a spoonful of puree. "It's not always easy. There are days when Emma cries for hours, and I don't know what to do. But then I remember something my grandmother told me: food is more than just what you eat. It's love, comfort, and hope all mixed together." Claire looked at him thoughtfully. "That's beautiful. It makes me think about how much I've missed those simple things. My life is so busy. I'm always running from one meeting to another. I forget what really matters." Michael nodded. "Life can be like that. But when you look at a child's face, their smile, their trust, it reminds you why you work so hard." Claire's eyes softened. "You're right." That evening, as the babies slept, Claire and Michael sat together at the small dining table. The soft glow of the lamp above them created a cozy atmosphere. "Tell me more about your grandmother's recipe," Claire said, curious. Michael leaned back, thinking. "It's simple but special. She used to say that the best food doesn't just fill your stomach, it fills your heart. So, it's not about fancy ingredients, but about care. She taught me to cook slowly, to add a little bit of love to every dish. When Emma was little, she cried a lot. The sweet potato puree helped calm her down, but the real magic was in the time I spent with her, feeding her slowly, talking to her, being patient." Claire smiled, feeling a warmth inside. "That's exactly what I needed to see. I'm so used to rushing, I forgot that patience can heal." Michael nodded. "It's the same with life. Sometimes, you have to slow down and just be present." As the days passed, Claire began to change. The stress from her demanding job still followed her, but the moments she spent with Michael and the babies gave her a new kind of strength. She found herself laughing more, worrying less. One afternoon, Michael invited Claire to help him cook. "Cooking is better when you share it," he said. Claire agreed, excited but nervous. She wasn't used to spending time in a kitchen like this. The space was small, and the tools were basic, but Michael moved with confidence and joy. "First, we start with the vegetables," Michael explained, handing her a knife. "Don't worry, I'll guide you." Claire chopped carefully, listening to Michael's instructions. They talked about their childhoods, dreams, and fears. Claire shared stories about her family and how she had worked hard to build her career. Michael told her about his hopes for a small restaurant where food could bring people together. "It sounds amazing," Claire said, smiling. "I want to help you make that dream real." Michael felt touched. "Thank you, Claire. That means a lot." One evening, after a long day at work, Claire stopped by Michael's apartment with a gift: a small notebook. "I thought this might help," she said shyly. "You can write down your recipes, ideas, everything." Michael's face lit up with surprise and gratitude. "This is perfect. I've been wanting to keep track of my grandmother's recipes and my own creations." They sat together, sharing stories and plans late into the night. For the first time in a long time, Claire felt hope that things could be different, that life didn't have to be just about work and money. Michael felt it too. He realized that Claire was more than just a visitor, she was becoming part of his life. The next day, Michael's diner held a small cooking contest, and he invited Claire to come. The restaurant was busy and noisy, filled with regular customers who loved Michael's cooking. Claire watched as Michael worked with skill and passion. His dishes were simple but full of flavor and heart. People smiled as they ate, and some even came up to thank Michael for his food. Claire realized then how much Michael loved what he did, not for fame or money, but because he cared deeply. After the contest, Michael and Claire walked outside together, the night air cool and fresh. "You should open your own restaurant," Claire said quietly. "You have something special." Michael looked at her, surprised by how serious she sounded. "I don't know if that's possible." "It's a big step." Claire smiled. "Maybe it is. But you're not alone." A few days later, Claire invited Michael to a coffee shop to talk. She came prepared with ideas and plans. Claire had connections in the business world, and she wanted to help Michael find a way to make his dream a reality. Michael listened carefully, feeling both excitement and fear. It was a chance he had never dared to imagine. "Thank you, Claire," Michael said sincerely. "I don't know what to say." Claire smiled. "Just say yes. Let's do this together." Back at home, Michael looked at Emma and Lily playing side by side. The babies had grown so much since that first rainy afternoon. Their smiles filled the room with joy and hope. Michael knew that life would still have challenges, but he felt ready to face them. He looked at the small notebook Claire had given him and smiled. It was more than just a book, it was a symbol of a new beginning. That night, Michael sat quietly, writing down recipes, dreams, and plans. He thought about the power of love, how it could heal crying babies, bring strangers together, and build new futures. And in the soft glow of the lamp, with hope shining in his heart, Michael knew that the best recipe in life was the one filled with care, patience, and love. The days were getting warmer as spring slowly unfolded across the city. Michael's small apartment was busier than ever. Between caring for Emma, cooking, and now spending time with Claire and baby Lily, his life felt full in a way it hadn't before. But it wasn't just the daily routines that had changed. Something deeper was growing, a bond between two people from very different worlds. One morning, Michael was preparing breakfast for the babies. The kitchen was filled with the smell of oatmeal and fresh fruit. Emma babbled excitedly from her high chair, reaching for a spoon. Lily sat on Claire's lap, wide awake and watching everything with curiosity. Claire watched Michael move around the kitchen with admiration. "You make this look so easy," she said softly. Michael laughed. "It's not easy every day. But I've learned to find joy in the little things." Claire nodded. "I wish I could slow down like that." Michael smiled. "Maybe you just need the right reasons." Claire looked at him, curious. "What do you mean?" Michael glanced at Emma and Lily. "These two. They remind me why life is worth living, even when things are hard." Claire's eyes softened as she looked at the babies. "They're lucky to have you." Michael shrugged. "We all need someone to care for us. That's what family is." Claire was quiet for a moment, then said, "I've spent so much time chasing success, I forgot what family means." Michael turned to face her. "It's never too late to remember." Over the next few weeks, Claire's visits became more frequent and longer. She stayed for dinner, helped Michael clean up, and sometimes even cooked alongside him. The two of them shared stories and laughter, learning more about each other's lives. One evening, after putting the babies to bed, Claire and Michael sat on the small couch, drinking tea. The city lights twinkled outside the window. "I want to tell you something," Claire said quietly. Michael looked at her, curious. "I've been so focused on my career that I forgot how much I needed people," she admitted. "Meeting you and Emma has changed that. You've shown me what really matters." Michael reached out and took her hand gently. "I'm glad you're here." Claire smiled, squeezing his hand. "Me too." As the weeks passed, their friendship grew stronger. They supported each other through challenges, Claire with her stressful job, Michael with the struggles of single parenting. They celebrated small victories, like Emma taking her first steps or Lily sleeping through the night. One afternoon, Michael took Claire and the babies to a nearby park. The sun was shining, and the air was filled with the sound of children playing. Emma crawled on the grass, laughing as Michael helped her explore. Lily watched from Claire's arms, her eyes bright and curious. Claire smiled, feeling a peace she hadn't known in years. "This is perfect," she said. Michael nodded. "Sometimes, the best things in life are simple." That evening, back at the apartment, Claire and Michael cooked dinner together. The kitchen was filled with the smell of spices and fresh vegetables. They worked side by side, sharing stories and dreams. "Have you ever thought about what you want in life?" Claire asked. Michael paused, thinking. "I want to open my own restaurant. A place where people feel at home." Claire smiled. "I believe you can do it." Michael looked at her, hope shining in his eyes. "With your help, maybe I can." Days later, Claire invited Michael to her office to meet some people who could help with his restaurant idea. Michael was nervous but excited. At the meeting, Claire introduced him to business partners and investors. They listened carefully to Michael's plans and asked questions. Michael spoke with passion about his dream to create a restaurant that felt like family. By the end of the meeting, several people expressed interest in helping. Michael left feeling hopeful and grateful. Back at the apartment, Michael and Claire celebrated with a simple dinner. They talked about the future and the possibilities. "I never thought I'd find this kind of support," Michael said. Claire smiled. "You deserve it." The connection between Michael and Claire grew deeper. They shared quiet moments watching movies, talking late into the night, and caring for their little girls. They learned to trust each other, finding comfort in their growing friendship. One night, as they sat together after the babies had fallen asleep, Claire looked at Michael and said softly, "Thank you for being here." Michael smiled. "Thank you for staying." In those moments, Michael realized that life had brought him more than just a friend. It had brought him hope, love, and the possibility of a new beginning. And as the city outside continued to shine, Michael knew that together, they could face whatever came next. Spring slowly gave way to summer, and with it came a new chapter in Michael's life. The small apartment that once felt cramped and quiet was now filled with laughter, hope, and the bright energy of two growing babies. Emma and Lily had become inseparable little friends, their innocent joy lighting up every corner of the home. Michael's dream of opening a restaurant was no longer just a wish whispered in the quiet of the night, it was becoming real. With Claire's support and the encouragement of new friends they had met through her connections, the pieces were falling into place. The idea of a place where families could come together, share meals, and create memories was about to take shape. One sunny morning, Michael stood in the empty space of the small restaurant they had rented. The walls were bare, the floors clean, and the air filled with possibility. He walked slowly through the room, imagining the tables and chairs, the smells of food cooking, and the happy voices of customers. Claire stood beside him, holding Lily in her arms. She looked around with a smile. "It's going to be amazing," she said softly. Michael nodded. "I still can't believe this is happening." Claire laughed gently. "You've worked hard for it. You deserve it." Michael looked at her, feeling a warmth he couldn't explain. "I couldn't have done this without you." Claire smiled, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "We did this together." The weeks that followed were busy and exciting. Michael worked with contractors to set up the kitchen, designed the menu, and planned every detail carefully. Claire helped with marketing and finances, using her business skills to make sure everything was on track. Evenings were spent cooking together, testing recipes, and dreaming aloud about the future. Emma and Lily played nearby, their laughter a constant reminder of why Michael was doing this. One afternoon, as Michael prepared a special dish, a twist on his grandmother's sweet potato puree, he felt a sense of peace. This recipe had once calmed 2 crying babies on a rainy day. Now, it symbolized hope, family, and new beginnings. Claire entered the kitchen, watching him work. "You know," she said, "this recipe is more than just food. It's a story." Michael smiled. "Yes. It's the story of love and patience." Claire nodded. "And now it's part of your story?" Michael looked at her, grateful. "Thank you for being part of it." Claire reached out, taking his hand gently. "Always." The day of the restaurant's opening arrived. The small space was filled with friends, family, and neighbors curious to try Michael's cooking. The air buzzed with excitement and the smell of delicious food. Michael stood behind the counter, serving dishes with a proud smile. Emma sat nearby, clapping her hands in delight, while Lily slept peacefully in Claire's arms. People praised the food, complimenting the warmth and care in every bite. Michael's heart swelled with happiness. This was more than a restaurant, it was a dream come true. As the evening settled, Claire pulled Michael aside. "Look at what you've created," she said softly. Michael looked around, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "I never imagined it could be like this." Claire smiled. "You deserve every bit of it." Michael took her hand, their fingers entwined. "I couldn't have done it without you." Claire looked into his eyes. "Maybe this is just the beginning." Months passed, and the restaurant flourished. Michael and Claire's friendship blossomed into something deeper. They supported each other through challenges, celebrated successes, and built a life filled with love and laughter. One quiet evening, as the babies slept peacefully, Michael and Claire sat together on the couch. The city lights twinkled outside the window, but inside, there was a warmth that nothing could replace. Claire looked at Michael, her eyes shining. "Thank you for letting me in." Michael smiled. "Thank you for staying." They leaned into each other, a new chapter beginning not just for the restaurant, but for their lives. The story that began with a crying baby on a rainy day had blossomed into a beautiful journey of hope, healing, and love. Michael's recipe had done more than feed a hungry child, it had fed 2 hearts, built a family, and created a future filled with promise. And in that small restaurant, where the smells of food and laughter filled the air, Michael knew that the best recipe was the one made with love.